This is one of them ones, boy. This is one of them ones. Now, you see, this is why I'm invested in this game. The Jets, here the Jets are on prime time yet again. The Aaron Rodgers effect. They thought Aaron Rodgers was going to be on the New York Jets. He got hurt. Game one, play one. Now the Jets getting smoked in all these damn primetime games. Raiders, Jets, Sunday night football. Jets coming off that disappointing loss to the Chargers, 27-6. I don't know if it was disappointing or if I was just riding that wave of momentum off a 3-game win streak. I wasn't a Jets fan, but I was like, damn, they looking good. And then they played the Chargers, who are not like that this year, but against the Jets, they got busy. And 27-6. Yeah, that's a 21-point victory. That's a blowout, my boy. Sent them back to New York, hat in hand. The Raiders, most impressively, I remember watching Antonio Pierce when he played for the Giants. He was a hell of a defensive lineman. Hell of a defensive lineman. And the culture that he's bringing to Las Vegas, seeing it in that game against the Giants, his former team, oh yeah, he might be the guy for the job. Not might be. He is the guy for the job. And hopefully they do the right thing in Vegas and make him the permanent head coach after this season. But a test stands in front of him in the Jets, that defense. You've got an inexperienced quarterback in Aiden O'Connell. The offense hasn't been its greatest this year. And that's meat hanging off the bone for that Jets defense, who has been just terrorizing opposing quarterbacks this year. Yeah, they've 4 losses. They're 4-4. They've taken their fair share of punches on the chin, let a couple slip away. But every team that played the Jets can definitely say that that defense got after them. It's going to hold true here. I hope that Raiders offensive line is going to come to play. Hopefully Coach Pierce can scheme up something creative to figure out a way to not have O'Connell just sitting back there like a duck getting teed off on by that Jets defensive line. These two teams, they seem to be both in a state of flux and both needing culture changes. And Oakland has done the right thing. They brought in a coach with attitude from the area who was a former player in to try to turn that team around and that culture around, and it looks like that's going to happen. The Jets have stunk for years, as have the Raiders. Numerous head coaches, coordinators, quarterbacks, offensive carousel as far as the roster is concerned. What can the Jets do to get some culture back over there? I remember the days of Antonio Cromartie and Darrelle Revis on that defense. The days when they went to those 3 AFC championships with Mark Sanchez. Yeah, they didn't get to the Super Bowl, but if you remember around that time period, those Jets defenses were nasty, physical. They had swagger, confidence out of this world, similar to the defense that they have now. And the offense back then was very similar to the offense that they have now. They had a slight overachiever at quarterback. Mark Sanchez definitely panned out to be a better quarterback than Zach Wilson is panning out to be. But as far as receivers, running backs, they didn't have world beaters. They just had guys that put their hard hat on every Sunday and tried to work harder than the guy across from them. Not saying the Jets don't have that. Offensively, it seems like there's a lot of uncertainty, and fair to say it's because of the quarterback position. I've been on Zach Wilson's side this entire season from start to finish because I felt Zach was getting an unfair rap when Aaron Rodgers came to town and then when he took over. Like I said, the Jets have been a terrible organization for some years now. And I feel like with Zach Wilson coming in, I don't know what people expected him to do to change life. They put a lot of expectations on this rookie quarterback's shoulder. And just like the rookie quarterback who came before him, Sam Darnold, he crumbled. Yes, to play quarterback in the National Football League, you have to have something different about you. You have to present a certain amount of confidence. You have to carry yourself a certain way. You have to, regardless of the talent around you, be a winner and be willing to go out and make plays. Zach Wilson isn't a world beater at quarterback. Zach Wilson is not a guy who's going to go out and throw for 300 yards consecutively, 4 touchdowns consecutively, multi-game streaks with no interceptions. That's not Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson at his best is a game manager, a guy who can get you 200 to 250 yards passing a game, a guy who can drive the ball down the field, up and down, and not turn the ball over. At his best, we've seen Zach Wilson do that. His biggest problem is consistency. In consistency, there's confidence, and I don't think he has that either. He came into a bad situation, and I think he knew he was coming into a bad situation. I don't think he was ready to be a quarterback in New York, never mind the quarterback of the Jets. The situation he came into wasn't welcoming. Coming into basically a makeshift quarterback room, a young offensive coordinator who was almost had as much milk on his breath as Zach did when he came in the building. I think so far Zach Wilson has shown that he can be that game manager in a good situation. Obviously, the offensive line situation for the Jets isn't the greatest, and that's been a major part of their struggles. Because with time, we've seen, like I said, Zach Wilson can manage a game, get you down the field, and not turn the ball over. When he has to make rushed decisions, he makes very bad decisions. It's unfortunate that, not every quarterback is meant to be great. And that was the issue with the Brock Purdy thing a couple weeks ago when Shannon Sharpe said Brock Purdy wasn't elite. Brock Purdy's not elite. And it's not to say he can't get there, but phenomenal situation. A quarterback that everyone's hard on, Dak Prescott. If you put Dak in the 49ers situation right now, and you gave him McCaffrey, and you gave him Debo, and you gave him that offense, and you just let that offense run as it runs, but you put him in there, I'm willing to bet they'd win a Super Bowl. Why? Because that talent around him is so much better. Not to say that, it is to say, because the offense that the Cowboys have now is not nearly as good as what the 49ers have. And the 49ers seem to have found their golden boy in Brock Purdy. The Jets need to go find theirs. It's not Zach Wilson. He can be a game manager. They're hoping Aaron Rodgers come back. Aaron Rodgers is not their guy. Aaron Rodgers is a Band-Aid. Because when Aaron Rodgers retires, we're going to be in the same cycle that we were in with the Jets before Zach Wilson and before Sam Darnold. Cycle of just quarterbacks who have been around the league, working this makeshift offense, and it's another year under your belt. But now that I'm off that, I got the Raiders beating the Jets 17-14. It's not going to be a blowout, but the Raiders are playing inspired football. The Jets got some figuring out to do. They did not look promising in that last game. That defense looked good, but that offense, after the 3-game win streak, it just looks like they're struggling right now. I'm not sure what's going on. Like I said, they looked good in the 3 games, and then against the Chargers, they ran into a wall. So I got the Raiders beating the Jets 17-14, Sunday Night Football.